Hello and welcome to Baking with Nonna at the Davenport Public Library, or in this case, in Nonna's kitchen. Today we are going to make churro pocket cookies. It's a good idea to read through the instructions before you get started and to gather all of your ingredients. So before we get started, get out your recipe, read through it. You can pause me while you're doing this. Get out your recipe, read through it, and then gather all your ingredients and put them out on the counter or on your table or wherever that you are baking. Okay, so now that you have done that, we are going to start with the filling. So for the filling, we're going to use cream cheese. We're going to use half of this box. This is 8 ounces. We only want 4 ounces. So we are going to just take it and cut it in half. And we'll put the half in our bowl, our filling bowl. Okay, with that we also need 1/4 cup of sugar. So you can get this is my 1/4 cup measuring cup. I don't know if you can see, it says 1/4 cup. I'm throwing sugar all over the kitchen. I think maybe that's good luck. Okay. There's my 1/4 cup. I'm going to just put that right in with my cream cheese. Now make sure that your cream cheese is kind of soft. If it's still pretty cold from the fridge, then you can put it in the microwave, but not for very long, just a few seconds. Because you don't want it liquid. Okay, so there's my sugar. And now I'm going to get a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. The teaspoon is the small letter, so it's TSP, and the tablespoon starts with a large T. That's how you can always tell easily. This is a tablespoon. See, it's quite a bit bigger than the teaspoon. So we want a teaspoon of vanilla, which is actually quite a lot. These are going to be so good. These are called churro pocket cookies because they have a little pocket in them. And this is the filling for our pockets. Okay, now you can mix it all up. I'm just using a fork. You can use, if you want to, a whisk, a wire whisk, which looks like this. Or you can use a hand beater. Like I said, I'm just going to use my fork. This is barely. It's a small batch of things, so that works. Okay, and you want to keep mixing it until all of the sugar is mixed in and you can't really see the vanilla anymore. When you start out, you have kind of brown stripes in it. And you want to not be able to see any of the brown stripes when you're done. Do you like baking? It's one of my favorite things, especially in the winter. Okay. So there is my cream cheese. That is my pocket filling. Okay, now for the cookie itself, this is kind of fun. We're gonna use pie crusts. Now the recipe that I have, that I'm using, that we're using, and we've kind of modified a little bit, came from a blog called Shania Bacon's. And she got the recipe from the Pillsbury Facebook website, and she modified it a little bit. So that's kind of the way how cooking goes. You find a recipe that you like, and then you can modify it a little bit into something that works for you. I've seen the same cookie the churro pocket cookie made with pie crust that you make yourself and roll out. We are going the easy route here. So we're just going to unroll our cookie dough or our pie crust. So I guess we're kind of making cookie pie. Okay, that's what it looks like. Okay, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. I've seen recipes where you cut out the circles or you cut out shapes first, and then you take your filling and you put it in a bag, and then you squeeze it out, you pipe it out. What we're gonna do, what this recipe calls for, is to take this filling and spread it right on top of the dough without cutting it. So we're gonna try that and see how it works. So you want to just get all of your filling, all of that cream cheese mix, and put it right on your cookie dough. I'm going to use a spatula. I think that's going to be easiest to get all this dough out of here. I'm excited. This is going to be good. Okay. Move this bowl so you can see better. Okay, we'll take our dough, and you want to spread it as evenly as you can, so that when you're baking the cookies, they take the same amount of time because they're going to be on one cookie sheet. So spread it all the way out. And if you don't have a spatula, that's okay. You can use a knife. A butter knife will work. Or I guess a butter knife would be the best thing. Okay. What do you think? Does that look pretty even? It looks like frosting, doesn't it? Okay, I want to get all the rest of this off here, so I'm going to hold up the edge of my dough a little bit and then spread it on there. Okay, now we're going to get the next pie crust. This is the hardest part, is opening the packages. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be embarrassed if I can't get it open. Okay, well, if you can't open your package because you're having, oh, there we go. Because you're having Nonna difficulties, you can always grab, I have kitchen scissors that have been sterilized. Also, my hands are very clean. I washed them just before I started. So you can always make sure that you have clean hands when you are baking. Or you can wear gloves. I prefer just to wash my hands really good before. It's rare that I will put on baking gloves. But my daughter, who cooks professionally, always wears her gloves when she's in the kitchen. So totally up to you. Okay. So I have put that top piece of pie crust right on top of the bottom one with the filling in between. So now I have kind of a big sandwich going. Okay, we're going to cut it into smaller circles, and you can use a cookie cutter and you can make a shape if you want. Here's a snowman. I think that they're a little bit big for what I want, so I'm just going to use a drinking glass. And you want to get as many circles as you can. So when you do this, Do them really close together, but not on top of each other. You want to make sure that you're not on top of them. Nope. That one stuck it right in my cup. Okay, so we will cut out all of our circles, all of our cookies. These are going to be so good. If you haven't done it already, go over and start your oven. You want it to be 350. We should have done that before we started. And then you can come back to this part. What is your favorite cookie? You can send me a comment that tells me your favorite cookie. I think I'm going to go all the way around the outside first and then do the inside, but it doesn't really matter how you do this part. And remember, anytime that you need to take a break, if I'm going too fast, or if you have to stop and do something, you can just pause the video and come back to it when you're ready. Oh, look at that. It is perfect. Ha. Ha ha. That makes me happy. Now to do the inside. The recipe says it makes 13 cookies, but I think that just depends on how big you make them. I don't know how many I got. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 13. So if you made yours bigger or smaller, you know what? I might be able to get one more here. No, not quite. Almost. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just do it. Now I have 14. Okay. Once you have all your circles done, we can pull them out. And just keep your dough handy, your extra dough. I think we're going to try something with that. I don't know how it'll work, but I think that we are going to take it and twist it up and cook them separately. For now, I'm just going to put it in my bowl. Okay, take your fork and just very close to the edge, kind of crimp down your cookie. That's so it will stick together. And that's what that looks like. Yep, now I have 13 cookies. I'll try that again. Okay, that's what it looks like crimped. So you want to do that with all the cookies so that all that cream cheese filling stays on the inside and doesn't come out on your pan. Okay, once you have all of your edges crimped, we're going to put them on our pan and bake them. So on your cookie sheet, you'll want to put some parchment paper so that your cookies don't stick. So go ahead and put them on your cookie. cookie sheet. And we're going to bake them for, I'll tell you, 12 to 14 minutes. And we do want to set a timer. Sometimes I just either forget to set a timer or think I'm going to remember, and then I forget, and then I burn my cookies, and then I'm upset. So we're going to go ahead and set a timer. Okay, they are ready to go. I'm going to go put mine in the oven. Be sure and have your grown-up do that part of it, because the oven is so hot. Okay, now remember how I told you we were going to try something with the dough? And I don't know if this is going to work. We are going to take all the little pieces and just kind of roll them up like a crescent roll or something. So just break them up however you want to, and try not to have the cream cheese on the outside if you can help it. I know some of it is just going to be on the outside. And this might be a horrible idea, and it might work. So again, that's one of the fun things about baking. You get to try different things and see if they work. I kind of like them all curled up like that. What do you think? They're cute. And you want them to be about the same size, because again, they're on the same pan, so you won't be able to take out some earlier than others. That one, cream cheese, it's kind of squirting out. Okay, if you want to, you could at this point add some cinnamon sugar to it, or just some sugar on top. We're going to make some cinnamon sugar in a little bit. In fact, why don't we go ahead and make the cinnamon sugar now, and then you can decide if you want to put it on top before you bake it. So, according to our recipe, we are going to need, for our topping, 1/2 cup of sugar and 2 tablespoons cinnamon. That's a lot of cinnamon. So, you get your bowl, and we're going to get 1/2 cup of sugar. So there's the 1/2 cup. And 2 tablespoons cinnamon. There's a tablespoon. There's a tablespoon. Then we're going to mix that all up. Oh, what is in my apron? Aprons are handy if you're like me and you're kind of messy. Okay. There's my cinnamon. Cinnamon and sugar. So I think I'll put the cinnamon on about 1/2 of them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in the oven, and we will check back with you when everything is done. Okay, my timer has gone off. So I'm ready to pull them out and see how they look. Mine have been in for 12 minutes. Remember, every oven is a little bit different, and that's why they usually give you a time range. Again, have your grown-ups do this part. They look beautiful. And I'm going to put my little twisties in now, the little twisty pieces. They're not going to be in there very long, maybe 5 minutes. Okay. This is the part for your grown-up again. We're going to take the cookies off of the cookie sheet and put them onto a plate. And there's a couple of different ways that you can add the topping. You can let them cool and use melted butter and brush on to your cookie and add your toppings. Or what we're going to do today is we're going to just sprinkle on the cinnamon sugar while they're still warm. If you use the butter brushing technique, you can do both sides. So once your cookie is cool, just melt about a tablespoon of butter and use your pastry brush and brush it on your cookie. And you can brush it on both sides. And then you can sprinkle your cinnamon and sugar on it. Today, we are going to take our nice warm, fresh from the oven cookie, and we're just going to sprinkle some cinnamon sugar right on top. And it will melt just a little bit into your cookie. Okay. And you can put as much as you want on there. You have plenty to go. So once you get all of your cinnamon put on, then you can let it cool off, and then you'll be able to taste it and see how good it is. There are some other things that you could do with this if you would like to, depending on your taste buds. I've heard of people melting chocolate chips and then dipping the cookie into the chocolate chips so that they're covered with chocolate. I've heard of people using Nutella and just spreading it on the top. You can roll it in powdered sugar. So depending on your particular taste, you can do what you like with this. I'm going to check on our little pieces because I really don't think it's going to take very long for them to brown. Not quite yet. We have probably a couple minutes. So while we're waiting, you go ahead and keep putting on your cinnamon. Well, the little Crispies have been in there longer than I thought. They've been in there for 10 minutes now. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them out and take a look and see how they came out. And there they are. I did about half of them. I like the cinnamon on the top. I think if I make these again, when I put in the cookie part itself, I'll put the cinnamon on before I bake it and just bake it in rather than sprinkling it on afterwards. So that is Baking with Nonna. Thanks so much for stopping in today. Next week we will have a brand new batch.